If Magic Johnson got a cure for AIDS, you're telling me if my grandma's in the NBA right now, she'd be okay? It's a quote from Kanye's song Roses that always makes me choke up a little bit thinking about the death of my own grandma. And it's not that she died because of the unjust healthcare system in America, but there's something that ties it all together. And I believe that if you've seen any of my comments on the spirit of America or how our work is in this country, then you might like how I tie this bit of health in with it. In Roses, the premises is that Kanye and his family are visiting his dying grandmother. And of course, that quote right there, I hope that we've all seen that our market of health, it's a way of just tying money to people's lives, literally. So if you're working class, which most likely you are, you're watching my video. And hi, I'm Joshua Murphy Cole. I'm lucky to have 3 first names, so choose any one of them that you like. And we'll continue our comments on how the American spirit is calling out for change. It's calling out for us to rise up as Americans. And it's, don't mean to make excuses, but it's kind of tough to rise up whenever you still got to continue the daily grind. You still got to put food on the table for you, your family. Oh, gosh, I'm choking up again just thinking about this, because how did we get to a point where we didn't realize the mathematical equation of you having to work to live? But work is just your body and the time that you can dedicate towards that. And then guess what? Your body is like a little parentheses equation. You've done algebra, I hope, in Common Core, public school, or whatever education system you have. Homeschooling at least taught you PEMDAS, where that little equation of work equaling your body, your health, mental health. I really need to clarify that mental health is in there too. And then the time that you have to dedicate, that 40-hour work week that we got suckered into, there's a parenthesis there. Your health depends on how much money that you already have. It really does depend on, do you have access to somebody's insurance? Do you have access to these doctors or the hospitals that you're located near? If there's, God forbid, an accident, are you within your covered area or something like that? If you get laid off from your job, do you have to seek temporary gap insurance? And so the premise of insurance, well, I mean, I don't want to go into the equation of insurance as I understand it. It's just a gamble. You're taking a bet with a company about something not that you don't want to have happening, and then they weigh that against a pool. So why in the world did we think it was a good idea, or somebody thought it was a good idea, or we just all as a society agreed to saying, okay, sure, my ability to be healthy and live a sustainable life is going to be tied to money? It's a terrible thought, because as soon as something happens to your body, then you lose your ability to make the money that would then keep you alive, right? So, I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. And I've got plenty of my own battles in this area, and of course finding out that mental health is tied to your ability to work. As a prior knowledge worker, that's what I had to do. I had to trade my time and then what I've got up here for what perceived value they were going to pay me off of. So once I started up here saying, well, what the hell am I doing here? And just kind of pushing back against the norm. And I was in a position where my job was to make things efficient. And whenever you start making things efficient, it's, there's a trade-off there. And the trade-off to somebody who's been on the job and doesn't want to change the way that they do things was, okay, well, bye, Joshua Cole. I believe that's one of your names. So yeah, after being fired many times, learning that lesson, I had to inspect myself and say, well, I think I'm generally a healthy person physically. And it just became obvious soon after that the problem was mental health. And I grew frustrated again at this. Why what's natural to me and remedies for mental health would be to have an environment that's suitable for me, have people that care about me, have a nurturing support system. And it's just unfair that you got to trade money for that. Not having any money, what is somebody who's broke supposed to do? I guess just, go suffer, right? So there's the suffering of my spirit, but I also have to take this as the opportunity to find those that are going through a struggle as well. Really, I mean, we have the largest, and I'm couch surfing, staying with relatives in a struggle of my own. But there's, people who have it on the same level, who are, going through maybe homelessness, living in their cars. And that's something to me where I'm finding this opportunity to connect. So in sharing my thoughts about how do we get to this point, I'm hoping to reach somebody who's able to think, well, yeah, this isn't good. What's up with insurance, and what's up with, you know, why do I have to go see one doctor for being able to see and get contacts, and then I have to go see, some other system for, your dental? How did that get broken up, and why is that two separate pools? Those are the different systemic pressures that we've accepted in our society that aren't natural, that aren't what lends to health is the health of a person, the health of a group, the health of a society. Those are all building on the same foundational blocks. I appreciate you taking time for this message. We're going to continue our commentary and dig down into what the suffering of the American spirit is calling out for, and where do we go from here. Till next time.